Good morning. So, may I wish you all a very prosperous year of the horse. This is a meeting of the Bills Committee on the Rural Representative Election Legislation Amendment Bill 2013. We started clause-by-clause scrutiny last time. And before this meeting, the administration issued a paper to us on the 5th of February, in fact. Paper CB 28111314-02 was issued to us. I think we will first of all continue clause-by-clause scrutiny. And then I will go back to the other papers. And today we have with us Mr. Lee Pak-chun, Deputy Director of Home Affairs, Ms. Victoria Chair, Assistant Director of Home Affairs, Mr. Markit Chi, Principal Liaison Officer, Home Affairs Department, Mr. Gilbert Mo, Deputy Law Draftsman, Department of Justice, and Ms. Emma Wong, Senior Government Counsel. So last time, we were on page 122 of the marked up copy, and so we'll start from page 123.
So continuing from the arrangements of last meeting, is how we do it. Page 123, section 48, is how to refill out the ballots. Deputy Director, yes, thank you, Chairman. This amendment is to insert the section 48 and sub-bracket, and it's just to clarify how to fill in a ballot paper. Any questions? Yes. LA. Yes. A very small matter in terms of drafting. Small suggestions to share with the committee. In the clause 4A, it says hot. But looking at the existing one in 2A, it says so it's so they have 選取. So it seems kind of inconsistent. Deputy Director, your explanation. Yes, let me just explain. So with the LDD, we've discussed this, and that they have a guideline in terms of this. So when we're doing the same subsection, the wording is trying to be the same, but if it's a different one, and if the meaning is not the same, then we'll use the same wording. So what do you think? I think the meaning has not changed. So this is a more precise 選取人數，不得多於虛實嘅有關選舉中需選出嘅街坊代表數目。So 39. So if there are no problems, then we're going to page 124, section 39. Yes, thank you, Chairman. Now this is about 47 and 48, a technical amendment, because we've amended 47 and 48, so that's why we have done the amendment here.
All right. Any questions? No? Then page 125, section 50. Again, It's an amendment to the wording. Then page 126 again. Section 53 again. That has already been discussed. Page 127 again, the terms. Page 128. Page 129. It's the same term. Page 130, the same term. Page 131, no amendments. Page 132, so an amendment to the term. Page 133, no amendment. Page 134, again, only the terms. Page 135, Deputy Director. Thank you. So we have 61 bracket 1 bracket C concerning the counting of votes. So we have the so-called round table counting of votes. 61 1A and B. We are proposing to make the terms in the same subsection consistent. So shall be under A and B. We're going to move a CSA so that the words will be is to be and are to be. This is for consistency's sake. Any questions, members? Mr. Albert Ho? I want to go back to 48 concerning the ballot papers. Page 123. Page 123, where we started off. So, ballot papers, how they are to be marked. That's section 48. And then page 135. Section 49. Bracket 2. Concerning the number of votes that can be cast that cannot exceed the number of Kaifeng representatives. Alright, no more than 39 for Cheng Chao. And then no more than 17 for Ping Chao. The Democratic Party has had an internal discussion. We are still considering our suggestion. We hope to really introduce an element of proportional representation into the system. So we are considering restricting the number of votes that voters can cast. For example, not exceeding half of the total number of seats, or not exceeding 1/3 of the total number of seats. So can I ask the legal advisor or the administration this question? Now, we don't know whether this CSA can be passed, but does it mean that all we need to do is to amend 49(2)? Then the schedule of the principal legislation will also have to be amended. So you have to divide Cheng Chao into smaller constituencies. No, that's not our suggestion. We just want to cap the number of votes to be cast by voters. Say, for example, not more than half of the number of seats. So you mean 39 seats and voters can't cast more than 19 votes, for example. So does it mean that I will only need to amend this particular clause? That's clause 49 too. No, Chairman, we hope to retain the existing system. Now, for Cheng Chao, each voter can cast up to 39 votes, and for Ping Chao, 17 votes. And in fact, during the public hearing, Rule Committee members said they would also like to see the status quo maintained. If we change the arrangements, then the rights of the voters will, to a certain extent, be affected. Yes, I understand the administration's position, but then Mr. Ho would like to know which clause needs to be amended in order to achieve the objective that Mr. Ho has in mind. Now, we'll not discuss this proposed amendment in detail today, but would like to know which clause needs to be amended. Mr. Mo. Now, concerning 4A, not exceeding the number of Kai Fong representatives to be returned for the market time at the election concerned, I believe an amendment to this one can achieve that objective. So only this part. But then we don't know whether other provisions will or may also be affected. All right, so you can consider this matter in greater detail, and I'm sure you will study the matter in greater detail if you really want to move this CSA. Right? Legal advisor, please. Concerning section 61, computerized counting of votes, that's page 135 of the marked up copy. Yes. It reads, ballot papers shall then, in the counting zone, be counted using any one or more of the following methods as determined by the returning officer. And may I refer members now to page 80, and in fact there is a definition for counting. May I refer to page 80 of the marked up copy. In fact, for counting there are 3 procedures, including sorting and counting. And so it says that ballot papers can be counted with the use of a computer. And then it is said that concerning the problematic ballot papers, they will have to be submitted to the returning officer separately. And then under section 62, we have ballot papers that are not to be counted. So can I ask the administration about the 3 steps involved in the counting of votes? Now, let me tell you what we do, Chairman. Our colleagues divide ballot papers into 3 categories. First, problematic votes. Second, vote or ballot papers that cannot be counted, and then third, ballot papers that can be counted. So that's the arrangement under the present technology. But then maybe in future computers may be able to differentiate between ballot papers that can be counted and ballot papers that cannot be counted. So we divide ballot papers into 3 categories. For ballot papers that can be counted, they will be fed into the computer. So counting is done first manually and then by computer, because the computers can't differentiate between ballot papers that can be counted and those that cannot be counted. So for the 3 steps, 2 steps are done manually, and the 3rd step, the last step, by computer. So may I refer back to 61C, because according to the law, there are 3 steps involved in the counting of ballot papers. So you are seeking to cover all the methods of counting under Section 61 that will facilitate drafting. But then previously all the steps were done manually. But now it seems that the first 2 steps are done manually and the 3rd step by computer, and you're putting all of them under one section. Will there be confusion? 61.1, we are saying there will we can use any one or more of the methods. So the first step is to screen out ballot papers that cannot be counted and problematic ballot papers, and then we'll use the computer to count votes or the ballot papers that can be counted, and our drafting division supports this method of drafting.
Looking at the interpretation, there are 3 different steps in terms of the counting. In Section 61, in the counting, it does have to refer to the statutory intention. Now, after this amendment to any one or more in Section 61, it will cause the this arrangement is already based in the statute because it is an interpretation. Any other questions? Legal advisor, I have nothing to add. Okay, thank you for your suggestion. If there's no other further issues, then go to page 137. Deputy Director, yes, this amendment of 62 is to streamline the counting arrangements, so it will be the same as district council and LegCo. So if there's a number of candidates exceeding the number of rural representatives to be returned for the rural area at the election concerned, they cannot be counted, and that is will not be reviewed by the returning officer. So we want to make this consistent with the LegCo as well as the district councils. Any questions? If not, then page 138. Yes. Deputy Director, this is mainly in response to sections 48, 61, 62, and technical amendments here. Then page 139. Yes, same thing. Yes, we've already mentioned this earlier. Page 140. Deputy Director, please. Now, this is mainly to look at the existing Section 63 in terms of the market tax elections arrangements. Now, this would be the existing method in terms of the notice. In terms of Section 67, subsection 3A to C. So we are making the wording the same. So that is we change shall be to is to be or are to be. So to make the wording consistent. No questions? Page 141. This is also just changing the wording. 142, same thing. 143, same. 144, Deputy Director. So after amendments of the section 89, subsection 2 is to make sure that anyone who contravenes section 47(8) commits an offense and shall be liable on conviction to a fine or to imprisonment. And this is the same as LECHCO. Yes. Page 145, there are no amendments. Page 146, there's no amendments. Page 147 is amendments to the wording. Page 148, Deputy Director. Page 148 is also an amendment in terms of the wording. It's to change village ordinary election to rural ordinary election, village by-election to rural by-election, and the same as in English. So these are some technical amendments as well. Okay, good. No problems. This is on the schedule, yes. Amendment to the wording. Page 149 is exactly the same. Amendments to the wording. Page 150, also the amendments to wording. This is also in the schedule in terms of the forms. And then page 151, the same. Page 152. Yes, thank you, Chairman. Deputy Director. Yes, page 152 is to provide the format for the ballots. So for election and for market time, Form 4A is more than one vacancy. If Form 4B is one vacancy, that is for by-elections. Now, the format of this form is only going to 30, but Changshao has 39. So I'd like to ask the department, so why is the form like this? Deputy Director, thank you. This is just a form for us. So in determining how many vacancies there are, then we will put in the determined situation. But because we don't know how many candidates there are, maybe there'll be 40 or 50 candidates with 39 seats. So this particular form gives us the flexibility. So to adjust for each particular election, determine this. So in the current village election is also like this. So the forms perhaps we only say 1 to 6, but actually there may be more than 6, maybe 7 or 8. So determining on a different situation, we can change it. So this particular way is drafted now allows us to do this. So can I understand that at the time, the actual ballot paper that is being used, if there are 70 people, then they will go to 70. Yes, that is correct. Any questions? No? Then page 153. This is for by-elections. No questions? Page 154 is amendments in the wording. Page 155, there is no amendments. Page 156 is also in terms of the wording, and same for 157. Page 158 is wording. Page 159. Deputy Director, yes. Page 159 to 161 is to list out the notice of results of election for market town for that is a format of them. This is the same for the existing village representative election. This is a notice of results of election for market town. This is the form that is supposed to be used. If there's no problems, then page 162. This is also in terms of wording. And page 163, Deputy Director. Page 163 is to reflect that if the electors are more than 5,000, then the expenses will increase to 38,000. So if the electors are less than 1,000, then it will be 18,000. If the electors are more than 1,000 but below 5,000, then the expenses will be 28,000. If they're more than 5,000 electors, it will be 38,000. Yes. Legal advisor. Yeah. Now, before the amendments, there is only 2 levels. That is 1,000 as the line. But now there's a 3rd level is added in terms of the number of electors. Now, the 2nd level is 1,000 to 5,000, and the 3rd level is 5,000. Now, I see that in another ordinance. That is cap 544D. That is in terms of LegCo election. There are 3 levels. The second level is saying that if you're more than 5,000 but less than 10,000. So I suggest in B you say more than 1,000 but not less than 5,000. Yes, Mr. Mo. Now, looking at the existing wording, even though it doesn't say more than not more than 5,000, but if you look at the legislative intention, for example, 5001, it seems to be more than 1,000 and also more than 5,000. But if you look at it in the terms of separate category, the legislative intent is very clear. That is, if there are over 5,000 electors, then it's 38,000. That is, I do not think that there is a strong necessity to amend the wording. The 3 categories are still very clear. The 3 categories are clear, but in terms of the wording, now if you write it now, where there are over 5,000 electors, so does it go to 38,000, or is it that if you go to 5,001 electors, that you'll have a 38,000? So will it be confused? If you look at 5,000 electors, it has to be more than 5,000 electors, then that will be 38,000. So it will be only 5,001, then there will be 38,000. So if it's 5,000, then it goes to the second level. That is, it will be 28,000. 2 things, Chairman. Now, I think the Deputy Director actually was confused himself because he said it was, the second category limit is 4,099, not 5,000. But, in fact, there was another place where it was said that the same thing. 5,000 and until 10,000. Now, we're not like arguing in terms of the court about in terms of a reasonable interpretation, but since we're drafting, so why don't we just write it a bit clearer, because the Deputy Director himself was confused. Deputy Director, yes, I'm sorry. I just said it incorrectly because I was thinking of something else. But in terms of the drafting, I'll leave it to. Yeah, I think Mr. Mo was saying. Now, I think in terms of wording is not exactly wrong, but the problem is in another way. Would it be clearer if you say it in another way, Mr. Mo? Chairman. Now, I think it is very clear in terms of the policy intents to have 3 categories. In terms of actual execution, you can also have guidelines to make it clear, because maybe I can go back to the department and see whether it is necessary to amend. So I think this is something worth considering. Yes. I will be discussing. I'll be keeping in communication with LegCo. On page 164, in terms of Electoral Affairs Commission Ordinance, there are no amendments here. Then page 165, there are also no amendments. Page 166, Deputy Director. This is mainly to amend the wording. There's village representative for a village. It goes back to rural representative for a rural area. Yes, in terms of just wording. Page 167 is also in terms of the wording. Page 168 is also the same. Any questions? No. Then page 169, there's no amendments. 170, there's no amendments. Not in 171. And then 172 to 175. 176. Deputy Director, yes, this is mainly to change village to rural. Yes, it also changes to the wording. 177. Deputy Director, This is changing village representative for village to rural representative for rural area. It's also something in the wording. Yes, that is correct.
8字眼上面嘅改。
Right, any questions? Page 178, the term. Right, 179, no change. 180, no change. It's just the wording rural representative for a rural area. 182, no change. 183, again, only the wording. 184, no change. 185, again the wording. 186, change the wording. 187, the same. 188, the same. 189, Deputy Director. It's just to change the term to rural representative for a rural area. Right. 190, no change. 191, the same. Change the wording. 192, the same. 193, the same. 194, 195, 196. I'll change the wording. And then 197. It's just to add the consequential amendment and to add and to substitute village by rural area or the village concerned by rural area concerned. Right, 198. Change to the wording, but then we have the term Kai Fong representative, deputy director. Now we have Kai Fong representative as well, apart from the indigenous village representative and other representatives. All right, any questions? No? Then page 199. Above mentioned rural area, so just the wording. Page 200, no change. Page 201, again the wording. 202, the same. 203, no change. 204, no change. 205, change to the wording. Right, no questions? 206, no change. 207, only the wording. 208, no change. 209, change to the wording. 210, no change. 211, only change to the wording. 212, no change. 213, only the wording. 214, 215, and 216, change to the wording only. And then section 3. So it's just the English version. Rural representative instead of village representative. 217, change to the wording. All right. We've gone through the marked up copy, Chinese version. Members, any questions or comments? I will ask the legal advisor to go through the English version of the marked up copy for us. The legal advisor will make sure that the two versions do tally. Concerning the commencement date, members, any comments? All right, any comments? No? Then we will move on to the paper issued by the administration on the 5th of February. Deputy Director. Yes, thank you, Chairman. At the last meeting, members asked us to provide some information in writing. First of all, information on the last Kaifeng representative elections. Now, in fact, there was an independent candidate elected with 653 votes, and then there were 2 independent candidates, and they obtained 154 and 54 votes respectively. Then Ping Chao. Candidates were divided into 2 groups to conduct joint electioneering activities, and there were elected candidates in both groups, and the number of votes obtained by elected persons ranged from 710 to 1,016. Well, and then Kaifeng representative election system. While we want to bring the system under regulation, we also hope to respect the local situation, and then verification of the eligibility of electors. For example, how we can verify that they have been residing in the market town for 3 years and for 6 years. Now, first of all, the elector has to sign a declaration. If he makes a false declaration, that would amount to an offense. Since 2012, we have stepped up our efforts to verify the eligibility of electors to ensure the accuracy of the registers of vote electors and to prevent potential vote rigging. And we also cross-check our information with information kept by other departments, for example, the Housing Department and the REO. So after the bill has been passed, we will step up our checks concerning the register. And then candidates, again, they have to make declarations, and making a false declaration will amount to an offense. And if a complaint is received, the RO will carry out detailed investigation. Then finally, on the drafting of certain provisions, we said that we would amend 11(1)(a) of Cap 541K. So revise 必須 to 須, and also we will make sure that there will be consistency in the English version. And then for section 18(4)(a)(2), we will propose ACSA to revise 中史 to 即史 to standardize the equivalent of the spite in Chinese text of section 18. And then 45A to C, we will revise 他, meaning he, to 該人, the person, to standardize the wording in section 45 bracket 4. Legal Advisor? Thank you. Uh, 9.2.18. There are a few bullet points there. And so if there are different subsections in a section, and then should be consistency of wording within the same section, but not with other sections. But then may I refer to this code, the fourth bullet point. It says that for the so-called adjacent sections, I want to know what you mean by adjacent sections. Mr. Mo. Yes, Chairman. I think we need to consider the proximity of the various provisions, and we also have to consider whether the sections are rather independent of one another. Now, if the sections operate independently and do not have to be looked at together, then we will do the amendments later. We do not want to have to propose amendments that would require the use of the Council's resources. We think our approach represents the best arrangement. Legal advisor, right? Do members have any other views or comments? A legal advisor. Thank you. May I refer to page 5, bracket D, the definition of computer. I can accept that explanation, but then under 541K, subsidiary legislation of the EAC, there are provisions on computer counting. And there is a definition for computer.
Includes any computer software that is programmed to count 咁樣嘅，咁佢就冇講 device 嘅。咁我想問下政府點解？
But device is not mentioned. So why is it that in the present amendment you've included device? Because you've used the word including, so the list is by no means exhaustive. So why have you decided to put in device? Mr. Mo, you know, computer technology advances very rapidly, and that's why we've used the word including, because we don't think we can really come up with an exhaustive list. But then, apart from the programs, certain installations or hardware should be specified here to make the definition of computer even clearer. Legal advisor. So, do we need to amend CAP 54I then? Mr. Mo? This is for consistency's sake. For CAP 541I, this is not a consequential amendment arising from a change of policy. So perhaps we'll just put down a note here so that when in future we need to amend CAP 541I, we will also add the word device. Now, because the consequential amendment doesn't arise from a change in the policy, and so we'll not be dealing with the proposal in this context. All right? Then perhaps we can now deal with the next paper. All right, paper 2 has already been dealt with. Members, any comments or questions? All right. So information has been provided to us on the last Kaifong representative elections and also on the ways to verify the eligibility of electors. All right, no questions? So we've basically completed the scrutiny of the bill. So, Mr. Albert Ho, is it that you are still considering whether to move ACSA? I'm still considering the matter. Allow me 10 days to draft the CSA. And of course, if I've decided not to go ahead, I will inform you, Chairman. But if I've decided to go ahead, I will have the CSA ready within 10 days. And then, Chairman, you can decide whether we should have a meeting or whether the amendment can be issued to members by circulation. I think we need to consider the legislative timetable. So we've basically completed the scrutiny of the bill. So perhaps the clerk can update us on the legislative timetable. The administration has said that on the 26th of March, the resumption of second reading of the bill will take place. And as a result, on the 14th of March, the Bills Committee needs to report back to the House Committee. And on the 17th of March, latest, members will have to give notice to move amendments. So, Mr. Ho, you'll have sufficient time to prepare your CSA. So, after I've received your amendment, I'll decide whether the Bills Committee needs to hold a meeting or whether the amendment can be dealt with by circulation. So, if we need to hold another meeting, that meeting will be held on the 24th of February, 10:45. I think I'll have sufficient time to prepare the CSA. So when can the administration give us as CSAs? Yes, we will work in line with the Bills Committee's timetable. So we will be working on the CSAs. I am sure that the administration will continue to communicate with the legal advisor on the outstanding issues. So AOB. (24th of February, 10:45) next time. So thank you very much. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.